Nearly a decade after the release of Mad Max Fury Road, director George Miller has returned with its prequel, Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga. It's the fifth film in his dystopian mythology, which started as an apocalyptic tale because it was easier to shoot that way, and has now become not only the pinnacle of action filmmaking, but an expansive world filled with ever weirder and more unique characters. There aren't many films that I would call perfect, but Mad Max Fury Road is one of them. Seeing it for the first time in theaters in 2015 was one of the most exhilarating and mind-blowing experiences I've ever had. It's one of the greatest action films ever made, period. So I'll just get this out of the way because Furiosa doesn't deserve to have those kind of expectations on it. Miller's prequel is not Fury Road. It is very good, but it is a much different film. While Fury Road is a high-octane thrill ride told over 3 days, Furiosa is a grand epic that spans many years in the life of its young protagonist. It is both a bit more silly at times and far more contemplative than Fury Road, ruminating on storytelling itself and the ways we shape our own mythologies. It is also admittedly a bit more rough around the edges, with slight pacing issues, some sections that feel strangely truncated, and more noticeable VFX. But even still, Furiosa is the rare, satisfying prequel that manages to add to Fury Road's greatness, and once again proves George Miller's action filmmaking prowess. The film begins in the mythical Green Place that Furiosa spoke of in Fury Road, an idyllic forest sanctuary that recalls the Garden of Eden and is inhabited by a seemingly matriarchal society. An adolescent Furiosa, played by an impressive Elila Brown, has ventured to the edges of this oasis and happens upon a group of motorcycle bandits. After attempting to sabotage their escape, she is discovered and taken away into the desert wasteland, setting up one of the most thrilling sequences in the entire film. Furiosa's mother, played brilliantly by Charlie Fraser, who should be cast in many more action films, chases after the bandits, hoping to prevent them from telling others about the Green Place and rescue her daughter. But despite her mother's incredible acumen with a rifle and some quick-thinking sabotage by Furiosa, they make it back to the bandit camp, where we are introduced to Miller's new villain, Dementis, played by Chris Hemsworth. It's one of the best performances I've ever seen from Hemsworth, as he lends this leader of a marauding motorcycle gang with an imposing aura, hilariously ridiculous accent, and a gleeful psychosis we expect from the villains of the Mad Max wasteland. Dementis is not just a gang leader, but has styled himself as an almost religious figure, draped in a white shroud, and insists at times for others to refer to him as Dr. Dementis, which may have been his profession before the world fell, or may just be part of his own myth-making. Despite killing the remaining bandit before he can tell Dementis about the Green Place, Furiosa's mother is captured and killed, and the young girl is forced to stay with the Wasteland gang. Later, when the gang captures Gastown near Immortan Joe's citadel, she finds herself in the Fury Road villain's service after being traded in intense negotiations over the precious Guzzolene. We then jump several years into the future to finally meet Anya Taylor-Joy's version of the character. Working as a mechanic, an older Furiosa still dreams of returning to the Green Place and getting her revenge on the man who killed her mother. If Fury Road was Miller's stripped-down version of the Odyssey, Furiosa is his Iliad, complete with a war between a king and a warrior, and though it is not mentioned in the Iliad, Furiosa literally becomes a Trojan horse in Immortan Joe's midst. But Miller's examination of mythology also extends to the stories that his characters tell themselves and others, stories that shift over time, as myths often do. We see this shift visually with Dementis, as his once white shroud turns blood red, shedding the dubious story of a nomadic leader seeking to deliver people from the cruelties of the wasteland and embracing that cruelty to become the warlord of Gastown. For Furiosa, surviving the cruelties of the wasteland will depend on shaping her own narrative as well. When Dementis passes her off to Immortan Joe, she is seen as just another womb to produce children. So she buries the old Furiosa and passes herself off as a male mechanic. Eventually, she again remakes herself as a war rig operator as she prepares her escape. These are the myths she must tell others in order to achieve her goals of revenge and homecoming. But Miller also recontextualizes those goals, and in the process, our conception of Fury Road. Much like in Dev Patel's Monkey Man, our heroine may be seeking revenge in Furiosa, but in Fury Road, she is seeking something far more powerful: liberation. both for herself and the other women trapped in this patriarchal wasteland. Her response to the cruelties of this fallen world is ultimately solidarity with her fellow women. It all adds up to a powerful, epic film that uses these reflections of mythology in concert with Mad Max's other persistent themes, climate apocalypse, and the evils of the patriarchy. Still, the film is not fully paced properly, with certain sections feeling like a drag, and even though the film is nearly 2.5 hours long, at times it feels like we are missing material. Another pass over the script probably could have polished the existing material and added more breathing room in needed places. I would have also added some more dialogue for the talented Anya Taylor-Joy as well. Plus, though there is plenty of impressive VFX work here, it just isn't integrated as seamlessly as it was in Fury Road. And there is a greater reliance on digital effects over practical effects and stunt work. Given the decision probably came from a concern for safety, though, I can't ding Miller too much for that. In the end, Furiosa is a fitting addition to the Mad Max series. It features supremely entertaining action sequences, including an impressive war rig fight that adds flying enemies to the equation, some truly excellent performances by its cast, including Anya Taylor-Joy, who perfectly captures the essence of Charlize Theron, delivers bold, heavily saturated imagery that makes the film feel like an epic fable, and also includes some incredible new character names, including Scrotus, Pissboy, Octoboss, and Chumbucket. You gotta love George Miller. I'm giving Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga, 4 out of 5 stars. It is currently out in theaters.